I'm not really sure exactly.
Good day, good day, good day. Thanks, love. Thanks, love.
Hello, lovely, beautiful family. David and Kimberly here. We came on a little early because we were trying to figure out how to share this on various pages. And David happens to be more electronically inclined, the one more electronically inclined in our family than me. So I'm like, what do you want me to do? He's doing it.
And then keep going. I'll figure it out. You keep talking.
So we wanted to get back into doing these lives with you guys. We've been kind of in this deep integration period the last few months after Mexico and all the things that, you know, our Iboga medicine retreat and all the things that followed after that. We've just been like hunkered down here in Lincoln City. It's been a little bit of an emotional roller coaster for me anyway, because, you know, I'm so used to the sun, and coming here, I actually got a little bit of the seasonal affective disorder. That's sad. I was like, oh my gosh, it felt so dark all the time, and my body was, you know, it gets dark at like 5:36. Like, my body wants to sleep that early, so it's like this really weird adjustment for me.
Yeah, I'm not able to find I don't know, your phone's different than mine, and it's not showing me where our page is. Like, you can't, mine says that your pages are right here. Mm-hmm. It says my pages. It doesn't say that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, sorry. We can share it after.
Yeah, well, you just keep talking. I'll figure it out.
He's the solution finder. Okay. So yeah, I was struggling a little bit getting back into my center here because of the weather. I have learned one thing about myself. I am not a fan of the cold, especially when it's wet cold. Like, dry cold I can handle more, but wet cold, it like goes through my bones, and I'm like, I'm not a fan. So yeah, David and I, that's the one thing that's been the most challenging, I think, for us, is the lack of sun, because we're such sun people. Like, David would be out meditating, you know, sun gazing every day, and I think like one of the number one vitamins that people are missing is vitamin D, and I can definitely see that being the case here in Oregon. Vitamin D deficiency has got to be rampant here in the Willamette Valley. It's crazy. Hello, Kishan. Super, super, super. Love, love, love. So we're just gearing up for the biggest ceremony of my life. I consider it, I guess, because I didn't realize when I was birthing children when I was younger that childbirth is a ceremony. You know, that didn't even cross my mind. It really, I wasn't raised that way. So now, you know, on my path and the lessons I've learned, I see childbirth as a huge ceremony. It's so sacred, so special, and one that I'm so grateful my daughter is choosing to do at home, because I think that is the most sacred place for a ceremony. Not in, you know, these bright lights. I mean, I remember I had my children in a hospital because my ex-husband was too afraid of what could happen, the possibilities of what might happen. And so he didn't want to have any childbirth, because I was looking into doing like a childbirth at home. And and I was really young. I was like 21 years old when I had my first. So I gave in and didn't end up having my children at home. But my daughter is choosing to, and her partner is super, super supportive, and it's so beautiful to see. We've been here a couple of months. I've loved seeing them and their love for each other. They've been together, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. I can't remember exactly, and they're just awesome. I mean, no relationship is perfect. None. I don't care who you are. No one is relationship doesn't have any flaws, but theirs is really awesome, amazing, loving, and beautiful, and not toxic at all. It's been really beautiful to be here and see that. So
it looks like we might have some sun today. I don't see as many clouds, and it looks a little clearer. It's been raining.
I was asking for some sun.
Foggy and clouded for days, so really hoping to get some sun on my face and soaking that love in. I've been missing it. Mexico. Found heaven down there. Found that everywhere is heaven. Found that we are in heaven while I was down there. And it was easy in that paradise. And then coming to this place where there's not much sun and it's raining all the time is another practice. Is now practicing finding the heaven here. And who knew that I could even love the sun even more than I ever did before? That's who knew that was even possible?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, sun, run outside, and the clouds cover it. At least I got some sun.
Well, the way that I've been finding heaven here is, like, in Mexico, like, it was so beautiful, magical, amazing. Every day seemed super synchronistic. And, like, David and I we really felt that and anchored in that energy of feeling like, here we are in heaven now. Like, we were in it. And then coming here, there's been some challenges, but we've held it, we've grounded it in, and then coming here, because we have had so much rain, usually, I'm one to find heaven outside me, like, oh, so beautiful, oh, I'm so grateful, all of these things. I've been going inward the last little bit and really anchoring in that heaven inside of me through meditations. A lot of meditating. And that's really the key, because the first principle of the Hermetic principles is the universe is mental, which means everything stems from the mind. We're creating our outward reality with our inward thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So if you can get your inward reality really, really dialed in, then your outward reality has to follow that.
So above, as below, inside, outside.
As within, so without, as above, so below, yes.
And the more you can stir up love in yourself and practice yourself and go deep into yourself and understand yourself, the more you can understand other people. The more you can understand the people around you. The more you understand yourself, the more you can understand yourself. And it's great, because then you can see ways of, how can I better take care of myself? How can I better love myself? And then once you're working on how can I better love myself, then how can I better love those around me? Then how can I better love this world? And how can I better love Mother Earth? And how can I better love those that love me? And how can I better love those that don't love me?
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a really challenging one. The ones
that
don't love you. It can be challenging. It doesn't have to. Yeah. For me, I found to love those who don't love you. And I've said this so many times. One thing that has worked for me is, and I never pronounce it right, so I'm going to this time. Ho'oponopono, Ho'oponopono,
Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono. See,
Almost.
I was gonna do it right. Yeah, Ho'oponopono.
Good job.
And this is the key. I don't know, for those of you who have watched The Secret, and they say it's all about attracting what you want into your life and raising your vibration, all these things. Well, it's about the feeling. The feeling is what draws that experience into you the fastest. So your feeling, not just your thoughts. Your thoughts have an electrical charge, but your heart is magnetic. It has a magnetic charge. So it's much more powerful to draw any experience into your life than just thinking. So you need to feel it as if it's already happened.
To find your heart, you've got to lose your mind.
Yes.
So you got to get out of the thinking. I tried for so long to think out of my situations and to think my situations out, and I had pushed my heart out, and I was trying to think it all. I was taking all that energy that I should have been expressing with my heart and letting out with my heart, and just packed it all up in my head and was trying to think it all out, and I just couldn't think it all out. And it was a very hard, torturous time of me torturing myself in my life. And so taking that time, shut up, stop doing shit, sit down, breathe, and just be. Sometimes you gotta take that moment. Sometimes you have to take that moment. You don't have to. But sometimes it's really good for you to take that moment. Take that moment before you start your car. Take that moment before...
I'm alive. Woo!
You like made it all crooked.
Oh, I was trying to make it so you were more like center in the frame. See, I did. Well, we together we did. Look. Yay.
So taking care of self is very amazing. Taking that time to meditate. What does meditate mean? Meditate's really whatever you want it to be. Just sit and be quiet. Meditate, like the best ways that I've found of meditation, that means meditation, that my best understanding of it is like one-pointed concentration. So if you can singly point concentration on something where you can sit and you're not like car, squirrel, light, rug, tree, all over the place like we usually are, and like that's like too much energy out everywhere. It's good to sit, pull yourself in, and just focus on one thing, like your breath. Focus on your breath, sit in the silence, and lots of things come. Lots of information comes, and we can receive it, we can take it in, we can say it's ours, or we can like let it go. We can transmute it, we can think it, we can hold on to it, whatever we want to do. Thoughts and feelings. Your mind is a big blue sky. Thoughts, feelings, and emotions are clouds floating by. You have them, but you are not them.
Unless you want to be. You can hang on to whatever thoughts and feelings that you want to. I mean, I have seen...
Emotions.
You know, I remember in my younger years, you know, if I had a bad dream and something that I perceived as being a negative thing happened in my dream, I would wake up in a bad mood. And it affected me for, you know, I don't know, until I was able to somehow transition out of that mood. I was stuck in that mood from a dream for something that we perceive as not real, right? I was in this bad mood for something that wasn't real. And I think often in our lives that happens to us today. We think that we know what's going on, or, you know, something, we perceive it as something that's negative. It's a belief that we don't really often know. It's just our, you know, perception about what's happening, not necessarily, you know, reality. It's our reality, but our reality doesn't equate truth often.
Does it mean our vision on reality doesn't make reality real?
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, just one thing that's really helped me in being able to transmute negative emotions faster is looking at this life like a virtual reality. Like, you know, so many people out there, they play video games and they're trying to get to the next level. Well, for me, this is my spiritual video game, and I'm trying to level up to get to that next level up in consciousness. And when I make mistakes, you know, when your person dies in your video game, you're not like, oh my gosh, they're dead, it's over, you know. you're going to get a new one. It's fine. That's how I like to view this life. Like, nothing's the end of the world. It's not that serious. I can always start over. Doesn't matter. If I lose everything, I can get more. If So I think if everyone viewed life a little bit more like that, like fluid and not taking it so seriously, we would all have a lot more fun with this.
I think we are here to have fun. We are meant to enjoy. We are here to learn the lessons that we signed up for, the lessons that we needed to learn. And besides that, we're here to enjoy and have fun.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to thank you for being here with us at the Love Temple.
Yes, we love you
The
so
Love
much.
Temple is in our hearts. The Love Temple is the temple of love that shares the message of love. The Love Temple is the place where we have our heart flows, and the place where we share our love and our church. We are building a non-for-profit, and that non-for-profit is for our church for religious purposes, and we are writing all that stuff up to build the non-for-profit and building the Love Temple Church. And the heart flow is going with the flow of the heart. So like right now we've been talking, we've been going through, we're not pushing of what we have to do. We don't have a certain schedule. We're just going with the flow of the heart. Is there something you want to talk about? Tell us. Let's talk about it. Let's go with that flow. Let's go with any flow. So we were doing these heart flows at our Love Temple and having people come by for like open mic night, potluck, food share, art share,
Dancing.
song share, dance share, expression share.
Yeah.
And we're keeping that going. We want to build Love Temples all over the world, and so we're building the community around that so that we could build the communities with the temples and have them all over the world.
Yes.
And
conscious communities where people are working, living, and loving together, who have a level of consciousness raised to the awareness that we are one, that when I see you, whatever I do to you, I just did to myself. Because you are another me, I am another you in Lakesh. And
we want to work with the environment too and do things in a right way. We want to be planting a lot of trees, planting more trees than we cut down, planting more trees than we could ever even imagine planting. We could all get together and plant trees everywhere.
Food forests.
Communities made out of
recycled,
like efficient ways, using recycled. We want to use up this plastic that's not being used. We got tons of recycled plastic. Let's do something with it. We can build houses with it. We can build roads with it. We can build all sorts of things with it.
Let the mushrooms eat the plastic. I don't want my house built with plastic. Sorry, honey.
I'm not discussing what you want right now. I'm discussing the possibilities that we will discuss. And we're not talking about building your house. We're talking about building community. And so there are ways that we can use recycle of all sorts in all of our purposes. Plastic is of this earth, and there is plastic everywhere, and we need to do something with it.
Yeah.
This earth
It comes from what substance is plastic? It's
petroleum.
Petroleum, yeah.
Like oil, pretty much. Yeah.
Which is from the earth. So, of course, there will be a way that we'll be able to break it down, and we'll figure it out. Humans are very smart.
So talking about community, eco-community, we can build houses out of hay barrels, we can build houses out of sandbags, we can build houses out of tires, we can build houses out of plastic, we can build houses out of glass, we can build houses out of all of that mixed in together. Whatever is best for the community where we build the community centers. And so the Love Temple will be a church that we're working on a doctrine for that expresses unconditional love and expresses love. The Love Temple is about kind of re-establishing what love is. We've been brainwashed our entire lives thinking of what love truly is. So we're going to straighten that out.
We're going to straighten that out for you guys.
We're going to return to unconditional love for ourselves.
Yeah.
And once we can return to unconditional love for ourselves, it's limitless what we can unconditionally love. Yay. I love you. What else are we doing?
You know, and I think that is the basis, is unconditional love for ourselves. Because one of my favorite quotes was, "How should we treat others?" And the Guru replied, "There are no others." Meaning everyone is another you. So if we are God, source, creator, the universe, whatever you want to call it, experiencing itself in 8 billion different forms, then the most important thing that we can be doing on the planet right now is elevating our own consciousness. I firmly, firmly believe that. And it's the inner work that each of us do individually that's going to help create this shift. And, you know, I've sat in a mushroom ceremony with what they call a God dose. I've seen the sacred energetic web of energy that encompasses our reality, because that veil was lifted for me during that ceremony. It's there. I know it is. And when enough of us become conscious enough, everyone will see it.
It's like rainbow sacred geometry. Everything's made up of beautiful, lovely rainbow sacred geometry. All part of the lovely, beautiful rainbow goddess, or all of that beautiful rainbow sacred geometry that makes us all up is all within her kiss. Mm-hmm. Thanks, love.
And one of the most important things that I have seen on my path of evolution is opening my heart. You know, David and I were talking about it a little earlier, but many of us don't realize that we have closed our hearts off. You know, when we perceive something as hurting us or some sort of form of separation, you know, it often can close our hearts off. Even from when we're little kids, someone tells us something and it just...
And it's like the physical tension too, like those muscles around our heart can be physically tense since that thing we held when we were 5 years old.
Yeah. So now is the time to start like releasing those, shedding those layers, because there's no way that we can get to that next level, whatever you want to consider it, a video game, that next level in the game, or, you know, in life, without opening our hearts. This is our most powerful, sacred center right here.
Don't be afraid to feel. Don't be afraid to feel it.
Deeply.
Sit and breathe deeply and just feel. Don't cover up your feelings with smoke or alcohol or food or some sort of distraction. No, sit and feel. Take some time. Love yourself. Take some time to eat a really good meal. Then take some time and don't eat a really good meal. Take some time and fast for a little while. Take some time sitting by yourself quietly without distractions. Sit in the middle of a crowd with tons of distractions and find your quietness, find your stillness. Sit and go within. Sitting and going within is not focusing on the outside. It's like almost like just letting the outside just be. And then just feeling the core, feeling like what, who, how we are. And sitting with that and honoring that with your breath. Feeling it with your breath. Honoring it. Thanking it. And then return to love. Love, 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 love. And it's good that we honor all of our feelings and honor all of our emotions. And we can choose. We get to choose how long we sit and stay in any of our emotions.
Yes.
You can wake up in a good mood and keep that all day. The choice is yours. You can wake up in a bad mood and you keep that all day. The choice is yours. You have the power. We have the tools to help you that we would love to share with you.
Yes.
There's no secret here. There's just things that we want to share with you guys.
The
There's
keys,
some paths and keys that have helped us that we have found.
But that in my experience, it's the daily things, the daily meditating. It's the daily prayer. You know well, I have different
wake up and hug yourself is what I do.
Yeah, I have little different things that I do in my ceremony. You know, in the morning, I like to get witchy and I have my candle, and I have different things that I honor the directions and all these things. But whatever it is that makes you feel connected to your center, do that, and whatever makes you feel happier and more connected, make it a daily habit, because
sing,
life
art,
is
play, dance.
sacred. Life is sacred. Every day is a ceremony. When we were just talking about fasting, speaking of, David just did a 3-day fast, and I just did a 5-day.
She didn't tell me till the third day that we were doing a 5-day fast. So at that point, I'd already been like, yeah, day 3.
Yeah, I've done a couple 3-day fasts before, and the second day tended to be super challenging, and this time it wasn't. Like, I didn't really have any super challenging days. I listened to a talk from a doctor who promotes fasting for healing.
It's the truth. It's the
And it's-
way.
yeah.
Fasting is
For
the way to
healing,
heal.
yes.
If you need to
It's
heal, if you're not
free.
feeling right, fast.
Yeah.
If you want to feel how you're feeling, fast. Because food is a drug too.
Yeah, and so many of our foods have so much.
Can be a drug. Sorry.
Yeah, food can be a drug. Yeah. Food. So much of our food is processed, and processed food that you're just eating. You're not eating anything that's going to really nourish and sustain your body. So, I wanted to do this cleanse, and I had decided to do 5-day, and I was just I was being patient with myself though. Like, if I just get to 3, I'm still proud of myself, but I got to 3 and I felt fine. I continued to 5 and I decided to end it, but honestly, I could have kept going. Like, we do not need as much food as we've been taught.
And we've been getting down more and more in the last year to last few years to going to 2 meals a day. Then we're getting to the point of maybe even just 1 big meal a day and then fasting the rest of that time. Your body stops digesting. It stops running its work processes, and then it goes, oh, digestion crew, you're off. Go rest. And then it says, healing crew, come on in. And then the healing crew goes in and starts doing its work. But as soon as you throw food in, healing crew's like, we're out.
Yeah.
And then the digestion crew comes back in.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The best way to start your fast is like at the end of your last meal of the day, and then don't eat and drink, depending on if you want to do dry fast. Dry fast is pretty powerful. So then I have found, instead of like, I'm going to wake up in the morning and start my fast, I've found you might as well start your fast when you're done eating the night before. Then that gives you that whole night, because every night you are fasting. Every morning when you wake up, you are waking up and getting ready to break your fast. You can break it with water, you can break it with water and food, or you can break it with just food, or you cannot break it. You can push it back as far as you want. Some days I would not eat or drink when I woke up until the afternoon. And there's a few tough parts here and there that's like, hey, why don't you eat something? And I'm like, hey,
often water helps that. Yeah.
Yeah, but then dry fast is...
Oh, dry fast.
When you dry fast, your body starts eating even more the things that it doesn't need. It starts finding water where it packed it away, like around a tumor or something. And then it'll, okay, well, instead of just this water storage here, we need water for the body, so we're actually going to heal this and get rid of this instead of just covering it up. And then the fasting allows you to to take that out. But when you don't water fast, you're just keeping it wet, so it could just stay there and metastasize.
So anyways, fasting's still amazing though, water fasting. I felt really good. I had sustained energy. I was actually still cooking for the family during that time. I thought that I couldn't cook because I would want to like test it, because the way I cook, sometimes I use recipes, but often I just get really witchy and I'm like, a little of this, a little of that, and I'm like stirring my pot and, and tasting it as I go. So I'm like, I can't cook, you guys, I'm fasting. And then I realized I could if I know the recipe enough, and then I'll have other people taste it. I'm like, wow, how's this taste? How's this taste? So, but I've been practicing fasting for a while. This is not like my first rodeo. So don't just go in and think, oh, I'm going to do 5-day fast and it's going to be easy. Like, anyone can do it, because any human ability that you've seen someone else do, you can do too. Just by mere fact of you being human. The only thing that might be stopping you from doing it is practice and belief. But other than that, you could do it.
Yeah.
So
you can do 122-mile endurance race. You can climb to the top of the world, and you can
just practice and belief. Yeah. So any of you can fast. Any of you can.
I recommend, like, if you want to practice fasting, for one, fasting is a good tool to use for commitment. If you make yourself a commitment and say, David, today, I am not going to eat until tomorrow. And then I made that commitment, and then I don't eat till tomorrow, and then I've completed that commitment, and I've followed through, and I've done something. I've set something, and I've done it. I've set a goal, and I've completed it. And it's a really good thing to do. It's a really good start. I don't know what you're talking.
Oh, I was just listening to you, and I was like, oh, he's so cute.
Yeah. So, and so, like, if you want to start fasting, maybe just ditch breakfast. Start with just missing breakfast. You can start with that if you want to start small. Then you can start by missing breakfast and lunch. Or you can just go for the whole thing and try to make the commitment for the day.
Or you could just do a later lunch. Like,
miss breakfast and do a later lunch.
Yeah.
Then you've maybe fasted 10 hours when you wake up. Sometimes, depending on when you last ate. When you wake up, you could have already fasted for 15 hours. And then you add 5 more, and you got 20 hours. You just fasted. And there's some point around 18 that, like, seriously, your body's like, repair crew, come on in, and starts healing you.
Yeah.
Like, if you had ulcers or anything, any kind of thing, I don't know, almost everything, fasting can cure.
Yes,
It's
seriously,
been proven.
look it up.
Almost
look it up,
everything
look it up.
fasting can cure. Some
is
people
the
have done
major cure.
71 days of fast. I've watched some of those videos on YouTube of people fasting for 71 days and things like that. And they go through some of the days that are a little harder than others, but they get through it and they're like, wow, and they feel amazing. Like, consumerism told you that you need to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a whole lot of it. And consumerism told you that you need to have snacks throughout the day, and a midnight snack, and something to eat before you go to bed. But it's not the way. It's not the proper way. The best way has been proven: intermittent fasting and doing some fasting and not gorging yourself. There's only so much food that you can put in your mouth that your body's actually gonna use.
They say the less you eat, and I'm not saying this like as in starve yourself, like if your belief doesn't match a breatharian right now, if your consciousness doesn't, this isn't going to work. But they do say the less you eat, the longer you live. So what that means is one meal, scratch your eating down to 1-2 meals a day, and the least amount of time that you can, in like a 4 to 6 hour period.
And then with meditation, you could eat the sun. You can eat that energy. You can go to sacred sites, like if you were able to sit in the temple that have been built around the world. If you were able to sit in those, it'd probably be easier to fast because of that energy is also feeding you of those sacred sites. You can learn to receive energy in other ways through your meditation, through your breath. Through your breath, you are receiving water. And who knows what other kind of particles. There are people that are called breatharians that actually live without eating. Some of them maybe have a piece of cake a year. Maybe some people have this one lady, I guess she's been doing it for like, not 80 years, or she's like 80 years old and she's been doing it for a long time. Look up breatharianism, breatharians. And I'm not saying I'm going straight breatharian right now, but I enjoy seeing the other ways of receiving nutrients and food and energy. In one of my ayahuasca ceremonies, my first ayahuasca ceremony, or it might have been like night 2 or something, there's like the big rainbow goddess that's everything, and she showed me how she's everything, and she was just like dripping rainbows into my mouth. I'm like, it didn't taste like your hand though, I'll tell you that. And yeah, so what I'm trying to say, and I keep getting interrupted, is that I was trying to say something. Thanks, loves.
Thanks, loves. Also, the more you get into fasting, the more in tune you get with your body. I've definitely noticed more subtle energies after this 5-day fast. Even in my meditations, like my frequency was elevated after doing this. So I highly recommend it. There's nothing negative unless you create it in your mind that can come from this, only, benefits and healing. So much love, love, love to you, each and every one of you on your paths.
Talk to us anytime. Call us anytime. Any questions? Any way we can help you? Anything we can do to help you love yourself more?
Yeah.
To love others more?
Yeah.
To get through something? To understand something? Let us know if you need
we're always here to
fasting coach or something, or whatever.
Chat, yeah. Whatever you need.
We learned a lot of amazing things along our path. We've learned a lot of sacred medicines. We've learned a lot from the sacred medicines.
Yeah.
We have a lot of sacred tools, and we would love to be of service because we are here in service. We are of service. Here we are. Here we sit in service for you.
Yes.
Here we sit in service for love all day. These days, some of the day, we meditate, and we meditate for you.
The sun is out. You see that?
Yeah,
I seriously called this in. I swear to God, I did.
And put sun on my face because it seems like it's been a week.
It has. And I was doing a meditation and I was feeling the sun. I was like, so here we go. I got it.
Feeling
it.
Feeling
the
receive.
magic is in the feeling, but you can't feel if you have a closed heart. So open your heart.
Open your heart, believe and receive.
Yeah.
Love, 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 love.